Hi, welcome to A Talk with Ted. We're glad you joined us today. We've been talking about communication. Thanks, Ted, for being with us again today.
Good to be here.
And we've been talking about communication and the role that it plays in good relationships with people. Can we do a little bit of a review from the last couple of weeks on what we talked about?
I think the first area I wanted to address was how I confront conflict with my partner.
Okay.
And if I can say something like, this is what I think, this is what I feel, this is what I know, there's my catch words, it helps me to, or helps the person receiving that to understand it's not necessarily about them, but it's about how I feel.
Okay.
The second part of that is to understand that I have a responsibility to respond to my attitude in that. And if I can develop some good listening skills, if I can say, okay, what's that look like? Tonight I want to put that together to make it fit so that we see what God can do through this.
Okay.
And
good.
a statement I read last time, and this is right off the internet that I picked up a couple of weeks ago. Listening is the ability to accurately receive and interpret the message for effective communication.
Receive and interpret. Okay,
Receive and interpret.
And that's really what we're talking about, isn't it?
That's right.
Okay.
So what I want to do, first of all, as the receiver, if my wife is saying something that she's concerned about, I don't want to overstep her. I don't want to talk over her. I want to listen to what that message is. I want to get the facts before I react.
Okay.
I want to hear her, and I want her to understand that I'm listening to her message, because I don't know about you, but I'm a guy, and I want to fix it.
No, I'm a guy too.
Are you?
Yeah.
No, but the fix it part I think is important.
Yeah.
I think we all want to fix it, but sometimes it's not that quick. We need to listen to what the situation is and then say, okay, what?
We want to jump, just like I did just now.
Yeah.
We want to jump in over the top of what our spouse or somebody is saying.
That's right.
And correct them or give our side of the issue, right?
Right.
And you're saying, stop.
Stop.
Don't do that.
Stop.
Listen first.
Let your partner influence you. From another series I've done before on communication is, I want to communicate to my partner what I'm thinking and feeling, but maybe if she's expressing that to me, I need to listen to what that and let her influence me, because maybe something I've not thought of is very important to her. And if I can listen to that and get that fact and say, okay, now affirm it. This is what I hear you saying.
Okay.
Okay? Because I think one of the problems with communication is we get so involved in it, we start to get upset, angry. We get it up to this level. I need to diffuse that a little bit. I need to bring it down and say, okay, what is the issue that we're facing here? And if I can do that, it can be very, very helpful.
Okay.
And like I said last week, don't allow the emotions control the actions. Just bring that down a bit and say, my vow was to love, honor, and cherish. And if I can do that in my marriage vow, if I can cherish her, if I can understand what that looks like for her, that can be a very, very helpful
Hey,
tool.
is it okay if you need to actually leave the room for a little bit and then come back when you're cooled off? Is that okay?
I think that's a good thing. I think if you have that understanding with your spouse that if I'm getting a little bit that I don't know how to handle this, I need to step aside for a minute and I need to say, okay, let me settle in my mind where I'm going with this and where she's going so I can hear that and listen to that. That can be a very, very valuable step. Yet, the other person might think, well, you're avoiding it. No, I'm not avoiding it. I'm going to come back in about 10 minutes or 15 minutes or 20 minutes. We'll finish talking it through. And like you said before, don't try to push your solution. Listen to what's being said so that you can come up with a equitable relationship so that we hear what they're saying before we try to make that realization. And also exactly what we're doing here, eye contact. I mean, I can be talking to my wife, but looking and thinking of something else. But I need to clear my mind to listen to what's being said, so that I can say, okay, let's deal with this issue, so it doesn't become too complex.
Yeah.
Be attentive, listen carefully what's being said, and then not only listen to the words, and this is important, I think, is listen to the words, and then try to picture in your mind what that looks like for her. And we might not be able to do that because we think differently. Men and women think differently. And so I need to take time to listen to what that says and say, okay, what does that look like for her in the particular situation she's in? I want a win-win situation.
Mhm.
I can win the battle and lose in the end.
Right.
I don't want to win the battle. I want to win the battle. I want her to feel acknowledged in the relationship as well as my opportunity to say, this is what I'm
Right.
feeling about it. And that turns it around. It
Yeah.
comes around that I can say,
Yeah.
okay, this is what I'm thinking.
So as part of helping to do that, the repeating back to them what you think they've said, is that a part of that?
I think that's a very important part, because what we're doing is we're acknowledging what that other person is saying, and then that gives them the understanding, okay, this is I'm communicating to my partner,
Mhm.
and he's at least, or she's at least listening to what I'm saying,
Yeah,
and that can
they're
be very
trying to get it.
trying
Yeah.
to get that very
Yeah.
clearly.
Okay.
So ask clarification
Mm.
questions,
Mhm.
ask questions to understand,
Mhm.
ask questions to try to feel what they're feeling, as I mentioned before, and then look for positive ways to give positive feedback. I don't want to be negative. I want to be positive in that feedback, and that can be very helpful. And
Okay.
also, I need to look for non-visual clues. Non-visual clues. I was counseling with a couple quite a few years ago, and through the counseling experience, he kept raising his eyes. You could see his eyes go up, and so he didn't say anything. So at the end of the session, I said, "So what did you not agree with?" And he said, "What do you mean? I didn't say anything." I said, "Yes, you did." I said, "You kind of raised your eyes, and I knew that you were disagreeing with me."
Mhm.
He said, "I did?" I said, "Yeah." And then we were able to get out what that looked like for him.
Okay.
And so when you raise your eyes a little bit, I thought, oh, okay, you're not really agreeing with me, or just even the facial
Mhm.
expression can be
Okay.
very
That's
difficult.
good. Yeah.
And then I think we got to celebrate our differences.
Mhm.
We're not always going to agree on everything.
Hmm.
And I need to find a way to say what is helpful for me to value in her mind and her to value in my mind, and then we can say, okay, compromise.
Yeah, but how do you do that? How do you disagree and still live in harmony with one another?
You take the best of each situation and pull it together. You need to say, she has an idea that's very helpful, and maybe I need to value that rather than value just what I want to do.
Mhm.
And then I think we start to come together like that.
Okay.
Can be very, very helpful. And you're going to be
Excellent.
speaking on marriage this morning. I think this is a real good start
Mhm.
to walk
Yeah,
into that as you're
excellent.
preaching on marriage
Yeah,
this morning.
yeah. Good. Thank you, Pastor Ted. We appreciate your time with us today, and I hope you appreciate it as well. And if you would like to talk with Pastor Ted, there's a email address at the bottom of the screen that you can contact, and he'll get in touch with you and be glad to communicate with you if you have some needs that we can help to address, right?
Thank you.
Good, thanks.
Thank you.